Greetings, Internet. It is I, JellicleKitten, and I am here to share with you a bad fic. Not just any bad fic, a really bad fic. I found this author when I first entered into the Nine fandom back in 2009 because, evidently, she decided it was a good idea to write a Nine fic. I have found her again following the exact same formula of Mary Sue enters universe, Mary Sue finds character she particularly likes, and somehow without any sort of backstory Mary Sue and character from canon fall in love. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So, the story we are going to read today is called To Dance Among the Skies. It is from the Transformers Beast War fandom with a hefty sprinkling of Armada. Hold your enthusiasm. And yeah, thus far we have 5 chapters. There's 10 reviews, every single one an asspat. But without any further ado, let's get started with the trademark author's note. Hey everyone! As you can see, I have a new story called To Dance Among the Skies. Originally, I was going to call this story Sky Dancer, but saw that name was already taken when I looked through the Transformers Beast Wars archive. So this story is called what it's called because of this. Also, the original concept of this chap, this is a habit of the author, she doesn't write out the whole word chapter, just chap, was much more sloppy than what this turned out. There were bits here and there that weren't there but were added in at the last minute as I typed this up. Yeah, I can see that there was a lot of editing put into this. So yeah, this is my first attempt at writing a Transformers Armada fanfic. Enjoy! Declaimer. Also another fun fact for this girl, she does not know that the word disclaimer has the, first 3 letters D-I-S. Apparently it's D. D-E. I don't own Transformers or Transformers Armada. Don't we all wish that we did? No. I do, however, own my OC Valerie. Chapter 1. Practice and ... Wait! Gained robots? Again, so much editing. Have you ever found yourself looking up at the sky at times? I always did, ever since I was little. Whenever I would look up at the sky, day or night, I always felt at peace. Sometimes I wished I could fly into the vast, endless sky, but I knew it wasn't possible for humans to fly. Valerie Smith. My head whipped over to where Mrs. Henry was. She looked at me expectantly, causing me to wonder what she had said earlier. The problem, please, she told me, as if reading my mind. I realized that she had written a math problem on the board, and I quickly went up to write the answer with a piece of powdery white chalk. Once I finished, I placed the chalk down before looking at Mrs. Henry. She gave me a look of approval before allowing me to sit down. I was about to sit down when the bell rang, indicating that both class and school were over for the day. I gathered my things and was ready to leave when my friend Alexis came up to me. Hey, Valerie, are you glad it's Friday? She asked me. Yeah, I have to go to practice today, I told her. We're still having the sleepover, right? You bet. I followed Alexis out into the hallway where I found her talking to Rad and Carlos. Even though I told her that I had practice, Alexis didn't know what it was I was practicing. I had been taking ballet lessons for almost a year now, and I could say I was okay at it. I just needed more practice in order to get better. Why didn't I tell Alexis about me taking ballet? I wasn't really sure myself. I just ... didn't want them to know. Maybe it was because I wasn't sure what they would think. But still ... I kind of felt guilty for not telling her. I left the school after placing everything in my locker. Everything! Since I had everything I needed for practice, I chose to walk, taking the shortcut I always took through the park. 1 minute I was walking, and the next minute I found myself on the ground. Groaning, I lifted myself up and looked behind me to see what I had tripped over to find what looked like a panel with an M on it. Oh, another fun fact about this author. Run-on sentences are apparently her best friend. I picked it up and realized it was as big as a textbook. What is this? I asked myself quietly. I looked around to see if anyone was looking. I didn't have to worry since nobody was here, so I took off my backpack and decided to place the panel in it before zipping it back up. I thought of showing it to Alexis when I got out of ballet practice. Either way, I still had to get there. 1 hour later. I was sitting in the locker room after practice, because apparently ballet studios need locker rooms, and placing my ballet stuff in my bag after getting changed, zipping my backpack closed before rushing for the exit. I wanted to get home as quickly as possible so I could get my stuff for the sleepover. Valerie! I stopped before turning to find my ballet instructor, Miss Sanders, standing behind me. Miss Sanders had a youthful appearance, looking to be about 27 to me. and had her dark hair pulled back in a bun from practice earlier. She gazed at me with her brown eyes, giving me the impression of a compassionate mother. Or maybe it was the expression that a proud teacher gave her students? I wasn't sure which. "Yes, Miss Sanders?" I asked. "Over the past 6 months I've noticed that you've started to improve. However, I have also noticed that you seem a bit hesitant when you move," she said. I sighed, lowering my gaze to the floor, some of my ash blonde hair, which was a bit past my shoulders, getting in my face. "I know. I feel like such a klutz whenever I dance. I want to be as graceful as you, Miss Sanders. I really do." "Valerie," Miss Sanders placed her hand on my shoulder, causing me to look up at her. "You're not a klutz. You may fall down a few times, but that doesn't mean you haven't been able to get back up. With enough practice and motivation, you'll someday be able to dance with a gracefulness of your own. I know you can do it." She gave me a smile. "I'll give you some advice. Try practicing new dance moves at home or wherever you feel comfortable. Listen to some music if you want to while doing so. Do you think you can do that?" "I guess I could do that." "Good. Just take it one step at a time and you'll do fine." "Thank you, Miss Sanders." With that, I left the building and started heading home. As I walked through the park, my back started to feel warm, and I realized it was coming from my bag. I quickly took it off and unzipped it to find the panel glowing. "What the? Why is it glowing?" I asked. Suddenly, I felt the ground give a great tremor, which caused me to lose my balance and fall to the ground. I looked up only to have my eyes widen at what I saw. Robots. Giant. Robots. As in more than one. As in plural. As in you're not funny. There were 4 of them, the tallest one having what appeared to be horns on his head, another one having weird eyes, one being bigger than the other, another having what looked like helicopter propellers on his back, and the last one having the wings of jet plane. The only thing they all had in common was a purple mark on them. My mom was screaming at me to run, but my leg weren't cooperating. Well, this is why she's a bad ballerina. She's only got one leg. I held the panel close to my chest. "Ah, so you have it," the horned robot said in a deep voice. "Hand over the minicon if you want to live, human." It was then and there that my legs decided to listen to my mind, and I started running away as fast as I could while screaming my head off. From behind me I heard the robot shouting, "After her!" before I heard something to a jet and a helicopter flying behind me. Again, so much editing. Damn, I've lost my place. I looked over my shoulder and saw a jet and helicopter chasing after me. The latter started shooting at me. "Holy shit!" I yelled, narrowly missing a shot that had been close to my side. Suddenly I ran into something hard, causing me to fall onto my back and hit my head. Ow! I opened my eyes, only to have them widen when I saw a giant yellow robot staring down at me. I screamed and quickly, to my surprise, got up to run away before running into something else, this time feeling hands on my shoulders. "Valerie?" I opened my eyes, gasping in surprise when I saw Alexis standing in front of me wearing an orange jumpsuit, along with Rad and Carlos coming up to us wearing the same thing. "Alexis?" I asked, surprised and confused. "What are you doing here? What are Rad and Carlos doing here? And what's up with the jumpsuits?" "It's kind of complicated, but we'll try to explain," Alexis told me. "We know you're terrified, so you'll have to listen," Rad said, which clearly are great words of wisdom. "You're scared. Listen close, because your mind's not on anything else." "Okay." "The giant robots that were chasing you are the bad guys." Alexis pointed to the horned robot as an example. "But the yellow robot you just ran into is one of the good guys." Carlos pointed to the yellow robot that was now fighting against the robot with the weird eyes. "Do you see the red symbol on him?" Alexis asked. That was when I noticed the red symbol on the yellow robot's left shoulder, although I couldn't tell what it looked like. "Yeah," I replied. "Any robots with a red symbol like that are the good guys," she told me. "So the ones with the purple symbol are the bad guys." "Exactly. They're fighting for the minicon that activated in this area," Rad stated. "Minicon?" I said it slowly. "Yeah, it's that panel you're holding on to," Carlos said. "I looked down at the panel, the minicon I held in my arms. These robots were fighting all because of this? Was it that important? Was it so important that they had to fight to the death just to get it? Well, apparently they're already doing all that shit." "Take it!" I cried, holding out the minicon to Alexis. She gave me a surprised look. "I don't want anything to do with this anymore. I can't handle this." "But Valerie!" The ground shook with a slight tremor, and I spun to find a blue, orange, and white robot with orange wing-shaped antenna on the sides of his head, kneeling down done close to us. I started shaking and was about to run away when I noticed the red symbol on his chest. Now that I saw it, the red symbol reminded me of a robotic-looking face. "The Minicon," he said in a calm, deep voice. He held one of his big hands out in front of me, as if waiting for me to place something in it. I looked back up to his face, then his hand, before going back to his face once more. I held the panel out and placed it in his hand. "You're a good guy," I said, barely above a whisper. "Nice simplistic answer, kid." Whether he heard me or not, the blue robot didn't say anything to acknowledge it. I watched in fear as the robots fought each other. That was when I noticed the other robots with the red symbols. Beside the yellow robot and the blue one I had just encountered, there was also a tall red and blue robot, although he wasn't as tall as the horned robot that he was currently fighting. There was a green and purple robot helping the yellow robot as he fought against the weird-eyed one, while in the sky fighting both the helicopter propeller robot, who was currently ... well, a helicopter, and the jet robot was a bulking-looking robot that was white and red and had wings from what I could see. The Minicon I had handed to the blue robot had been replaced with a tiny robot which transformed into ... I wasn't sure what it was from where I was, but after a while of fighting, the horned robot and his lackeys looked worn out and seemed to be losing before deciding to retreat. To my surprise, they disappeared on the spot, leaving the good robots behind. The bulky robot that had been fighting in the sky came down to stand next to the red and blue robot. "Good work, men," the red and blue robot said. He turned to the blue and orange robot. "And good job for finding the Minicon, Blur." "I wasn't the one who found it," the blue and orange robot, Blur, stated. "Oh, come on, Blur. No need to be so modest," the yellow robot said jokingly. "The human femme found it." Suddenly all the robots turned to where Alexis, Rad, Carlos, and I were, but all the attention was on me. I felt uneasy from all the attention as the robots came over to where we were. I started shaking again, and I tried so hard not to, but I was scared despite the fact that my friend told me they were the good guys. If you were standing in front of not just one giant robot, but 5 giant robots, then you'd feel the same way. Or maybe it was just me. "Hey, you're the one who ran into my leg," the yellow robot said, recognizing me. "You're not hurt, are you?" I didn't answer, unsure of what to say. I tried to open my mouth to say something, but I was unable to voice my thoughts. "Are you okay, miss?" the red and blue robot asked me, sounding genuinely concerned. It was then and there that I did the last thing I wanted to do in front of anyone. I fainted. Concluding author's note. This concludes Chap 1 of To Dance Among the Skies. I'll admit it's been a while since I watched Transformers Armada, the last time being when I watched it on Toonami when I was in elementary school. Oh my Christ, no one cares. So I've started rewatching it on YouTube in order to get caught up again. Please remember to review, and if you'd like to give me any ideas you want to see in future chaps of this story, and I'll give anyone credit for their ideas. Meaning I'm too lazy to actually think, so please do me the favor of thinking for me, and I'll just slap your name up in the title. Thanks! Yeah, so that's Chapter 1. It gets worse. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It gets worse. So, that concludes the first edition of JellicleKitten Badfic Theater. I hope you've all enjoyed. Chapter 2 will be up as soon as I can hate myself enough to do this again.